All right, today I'm taking this old high-low off attic fan switch and adding a timer. And I'm going to show you what kind of timer to use and how to get the high and low working with that timer. All right, here's the stuff that you will need. You will need a timer. Now they do make these where they can go all the way up to, I believe, 16 hours. I got the one that goes up to 8. It's 1, 2, 4, and 8. Okay, it's got a push button here where you can toggle through them. And I got this switch here. This is by Leviton. It's a high and low and off in the middle. You'll need also a 2 gang box, and you'll need a new cover. And I'll put the link in the description to what I used in this video down below. So how do you wire this up? It's actually not very hard after reading the instructions. So this timer has a red, green, black, and white. The red one is the load. That goes to this switch on the left side. You see there's 2 switches that are controlled with these 2 bolts here. That's for the high and low. So you got a neutral. That goes to neutral in your box. A black goes to your hot, to the power that you get from whatever's powering up your fan. And then the green goes to your ground, and this has got a ground here as well. And on this switch, again, the load goes here on this side. It'll say on the back L1 is for load, and then on this side you'll have A1 and B1. These are your switches, so high and low. And how this works is if you just want it on high, you hit the high button, and whenever you have the timer on, it'll be on high. If you ever need it on low, you just come over here and hit it to the low, and then you just, and if you ever have it on hold, you see it says hold right here. If you have it lit up on hold, this will stay on indefinitely. And if you want, if it's on hold and you hit the middle button, of course it'll be off. So and also if you have it off and you have this clicked on whatever, it won't work. But you really don't need, when I go to bed, say if I go to bed at 11 o'clock, I don't really want it on more than 8 hours, because you get the cool air in the night, and then when the sun comes up in the summer, it starts to get hot and you don't want to bring that hot air in. So that's why I wanted the timer. And there's times where you just want to cool off the attic for like an hour or 2, and you can do that. And this switch here, just in case you're knowing, the timer switch is rated up to 1 horsepower, okay? So that means you can run a fan up to 1 horsepower. I think mine is like a 1/3 horsepower. And just to give you an idea of how much space I got once it's in there, okay, I got I'd say about 1.5 inches left with this particular one. Gang box I got is 2 3/4, and the switch itself is about 1/8 past 1.5 inches. You can see in these boxes it gets kind of tight in here because they put these punch outs here that take up space. Alright, so first step is I'm going to take this switch out. I'll take this and trace it, cut out a bigger hole. Alright, you can see it's real simple. It's got 3 wires. There's a red and 2 blacks. 2 of those wires are for the high and low, and 1 is for power. And it's real simple. On the back of this, it'll say L for load. Okay, that's your power coming in, and then this one says 2 and this one says 3. Okay, so these are your high and low switches, which is the black and red one on this side. And so this is my power. I should be able to disconnect the power. Watch, I'll turn it on. Okay, I'm on high. As soon as I disconnect this, that'll be the power. All right, and I'll just cap this power one for now. I'll disconnect the power in a little bit so I don't get shocked. All right, so again, the power is this one here, and that's an actual different cable for the power. It's coming into this box, and this other electrical wire, that's just to the fan. It's the high and low and neutral. All right, so we'll disconnect this thing here. So we'll switch. So we're left with just bare wires now. Let me go disconnect the electricity so I don't get shocked by this wire. And these ones, they just have these clips. I don't know when they invented these. This must be very old. You bend these clips back and then it pops out this little box. All right, let's see if we can get this box out. Yeah. See how these things just kind of go in there? Kind of flimsy. Yeah. These are little clips. And they just ran the ground right through this metal thing. I'll pull that back out. Oh, and I forgot to turn off the power. Oops. Oh well. I do that a lot. I don't recommend doing what I do. Learn what you can learn, but don't do what I do. Sometimes I'm doing something wrong, like not turning off the power, and that could be harmful to anybody if they don't know what they're doing. And even professionals will tell you to turn off the power, so they'll do it themselves. After getting shocked a few times, you'll learn to turn off the power. So let me go do that. I'll go turn off the power. All right, my power is off finally. And to check it, if you don't have one of these testers to see if it's off, you could just run one to one of the fan. If the attic fan turns on, you know, the high or low, it should turn on. So you don't have power if it doesn't work. That's one way to find out. All right, so I'm gonna shove all this in the wall because I need to make my hole bigger and it's in my way. So I'm just gonna shove this all in there and it's off, so it doesn't matter if they touch. Just gonna shove that in there, out of the way. And all I'm gonna do is center this up in the middle and trace the box out and do my cut. All right, so I got it cut out and this thing fits right in there. These ones you could just turn the screws and there's a little flap right there that opens up when you turn it and it grips on. Sometimes when you use lath and plaster, the old wood is a little bit thicker, so you might have to trim off just a little bit of that wood on one side and on that side, but we'll see if it fits. But I'm gonna run my wires through there. All right, so we got those cables ran through the plastics. And I'm gonna go and put this in there. And then tighten these screws down. That little flap opened up, I could see it. And it gripped just fine. There we go, nice and tight. And later I'll come back and I'll fill these gaps. This is an interior wall, so it's not as important to have those air gaps sealed as if it was an exterior. So now we're going to take the whites and connect them together. That's the neutrals, those go together. Grounds go together, which is here. Okay, this is my hot wire that goes into the timer side. Neutrals go together and get tied off and put in the back. And this is my red and black for high and low. Okay. All right, so we got our power wire going into the black on the switch timer. And we got all the neutrals together in the box already capped, and that leaves us the ground. I put a ground on this other switch, and that all the grounds will go together, and then that leaves just the high and low, which goes on to the switch high and low, which is on this side, and that's pretty much it. So I'll get this, and I got plenty of space back there with this gang box that I picked. All right, all the grounds are tied together. I got the power hooked up, and let's see if this thing works. Let's try high speed. And of course it won't work even if you hit high, because you got to hit this side. So 1 hour goes on first. And it's working, but I think I have the low and the high on the wrong. Yeah, I just got to switch the high and the low. The wires are backwards. The red goes on top and the black goes on the bottom. It's got 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hour, 8 hour, and then off. I guess to hold it, you gotta hold the button down for a few seconds. You gotta literally hold it to keep it on all the time, which I like that, because if your kids try to do this, or your wife, and they don't know what they're doing, and they could cycle through the hold button and it can stay on forever, and you can burn out your attic motor if you leave it on too long. So that's a good thing, that you actually have to hold it down if you want to keep it on indefinitely. And again, even if you have that on all the time, you can simply hit that off button. All right, just switch the wires around, and this should be high now up here. And it is. Low, high, perfect. And then off. This one's a little bit in, so I'll pop this one out. It's a little bit too much. Alright, so if this thing is sitting too low and this one's sticking out and you're all the way down here tight, what you could do is use these tabs here. There's a little tab on each corner, and bend that one down with some pliers. That way it doesn't go all the way in when you tighten the screws down. So just take some pliers and just grab these corners and bend down a little bit like that. If you do it a little bit more than you need it, it's okay. When you tighten it up, it'll smash it down. Because I heard some complaints on the reviews. I read the reviews when I buy stuff on Amazon or wherever I'm getting it. So I kind of knew this was not going to fit perfect in the box because it's really long. So I got a bigger gang box, deeper, and I knew it was going to stick out or not fit in there properly, but there's always a way to fix stuff. And you can see it's getting more and more flush there. Still needs to go in a little bit more. Now I have a gap. I gotta go in a little bit more. All right, still a little bit of a gap there. So I'm gonna go a little bit more. And the gap that I'm talking about is faceplate to wall gap. So that's flush here. Still a little gap on that side. So you gotta go down some more. Yeah, that's just about it. Just a little bit more on the top. And there we go. It's pretty good. Alright guys, that's it for this video. That's how I installed a timer switch for my attic fan. Didn't take me too long. Probably if I didn't have to film this, I'd be done in probably half hour, maybe an hour. You're taking your time. Most of the time you're trying to go around looking for tools that you need, so try to get your tools out first. I didn't spend too much money on it either, so it's well worth it. Problem I had with my other attic fan is I used to leave it on 24 hours a day, and the thing cooked my motor. So you don't really need it 24 hours a day. You only need it on the when it's cooler outside than it is on the inside to blow that hot air out, and that's what makes it great for this timer. Yeah, look at that, it's nice and flush, fits perfect into this wall plate. That's one of the complaints I saw online, but see, if you do it right, you won't have that problem. Anyways, this is Jacob, the Home Fixer. Catch you on the next video. Do not mind the holes in the walls, because later I'm going to be taking all this wallpaper off and fixing this whole wall, so I'm not even worried about that. Alright, it's all finished. Now I can hit the timer for 2 hours and go to bed and not have to worry about that thing being on all night.